Welcome to the Zaquarian! The Uncharted 4 multiplayer stress test was this weekend, and I jumped in and played a few matches. The last time I touched multiplayer in an Uncharted game was Uncharted 2, and while it was a fun diversion, it was nowhere near the main reason to get the game, and lacked player attention. It was well executed for what it was, but it didn't grab me enough to warrant trying it out again 3. I'm happy to report that this multiplayer experience blew my expectations out of the water. Not only is it leaps and bounds ahead of what Naughty Dog did with the last 2 games, but I honestly think it's going to be a pretty big distraction from what is sure to be a stellar single-player experience. I'm not lying when I say I had more fun playing this beta than I did with the multiplayer in the last couple Call of Duties. The only mode available to us was Team Deathmatch, which pits 2 teams of 5 against each other in a race to be the first team with 35 kills. The kills part is important, because anything less than a headshot only results in you going down. While down, you can crawl around for a few seconds and try to find cover, hoping a teammate will come by and revive you. Anyone not finished off doesn't apply to the kill count, which makes reviving your downed allies essential. At the start of each match, you choose your loadout, initially consisting of presets, with the option to customize them opening up soon after. They fall into the standard categories of assault, recon, support, etc., and define your role on the battlefield. After that, depending on whether you were placed on the hero or villain team, you pick your character from a series of mainstays. The heroes include Nathan Drake, of course, Sully and Elena, among others. Villains bring back Harry Flynn and the ever-snarling Lazarevich. Both teams include a few fresh faces I don't recognize, which means they'll either pop up in Uncharted 4 story, or they're unique to the multiplayer. Once into the actual match, the action takes place in a rotation of 3 maps. I'm sure there will be much more on display in the final game, and if the quality of these 3 are any indication, they will all be fantastic. Each of the 3 maps can be described as expertly designed, with many different ways to get wherever you need to go. On top of that, they look great, with the same attention to detail that was present in last year's E3 demo. Each map also has a great deal of verticality, which takes advantage of my favorite addition to Uncharted, the grappling hook. Ever since we saw it in action last year, we've wanted to get our hands on it, and I can say it's just as much fun as it looked. Leaping off a bell tower, latching onto a street lamp, and dive-bombing an opponent is one of the most satisfying experiences I've ever had in a competitive multiplayer game. It can also be used to charge up your melee attack, resulting in a one-hit down on anyone not paying attention to their surroundings. Another game changer is what the game calls purchasables, which work like a simplified version of the store from a Counter-Strike game. Using the touchpad brings up a radial menu that uses the match currency you've been accumulating by offing opponents. Pressing a direction on the D-pad lets you buy things like AI partners, one of which is a huge brute with a chain gun. Another is a hunter that finds an opponent and holds him for some free shots. Another direction might be a limited use heavy weapon, like a grenade or rocket launcher. The coolest things by far, though, are the summons, based on the supernatural elements of past games. The Chintamani Stone revives any teammates that are currently down. The power of the Jinn gives you super speed, and the massive Wrath of El Dorado calls in the giant statue from the first game and sends out pulses of energy, which are absolutely devastating to a clustered team. I really only have one concern with the multiplayer, but it's a big one, and it has to do with how the match currency works. If you're a decent player, you can get about $2,200 in a match. That will let you buy each of the items in your store once. However, anything you save at the end of the match goes toward a cash milestone, and each time you hit one of those milestones, you get an unlock token. These unlock tokens are what you use to buy weapons and purchasables that go into your custom loadouts. These things can get pricey, with some of the main guns requiring 5 or 6 unlock tokens to get your hands on. So, you can either use your money in the match to do cool stuff, and potentially win the game for your team, or you can selfishly hoard it, possibly condemning your teammates so you can buy better stuff later. Of all the leveling systems in multiplayer I've seen, and you guys know I hate them, this is by far the shittiest, which is such a shame because the actual gameplay is so much fun. And that's not even counting the other 2 currencies, one of which, the purple relics, I couldn't figure out a use for, and the gold, which really looks like it's going to be a microtransaction in order to buy new skins and aesthetic items, meaning you'll have to use your actual money to buy gold, which will then let you buy a cowboy hat to put on Drake's head. But despite those unfortunate things, I had so much fun with the stress test that I'm honestly going to have a hard time playing all the way through the single-player campaign when Uncharted 4 launches on May 10th. What was on hand over the weekend was incredibly polished, with only some minor audio-visual bugs rearing their heads. Things like backgrounds not loading incorrectly, or guns not making a sound when you fire. That said though, I can't wait to jump back in and bash more heads with a grappling hook. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give it a like and a share, and comment on what you thought. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned to the Zerquarian.